So that's the form. It's also important for you to name your forms properly so that you don't get confused sometime, someday. Now, for the forms to edit a post, the first thing you want to start with is insert. Insert a hidden field and select current post ID. Now, you select current post ID if you are 100% sure that this form will be placed inside that single post type. That is the only where or the only time using current post type ID works. Otherwise, don't do that. If this form will be placed anywhere else rather than within that specific single post type, you don't do this. We won't explain that right now, but we might get into it if need be. So, hidden field, current post ID. Then the things that you will need here will actually in most cases depend with what you want to do. Now, I am including the post URL because when we edit a task that has been assigned to another user, we want to send them an email letting them know that the task has been edited. And within that email, we want to add the URL of that task, which is the post or the CPT, so they can easily click on that and go straight to that specific post. It makes sense, right? It does. So post URL, it's a hidden field, and we select current post or page URL. Then title, status, priority, assigned to, start date, due time, description, and attachment. These are exactly what we have in the original forms, but with this one difference. Now you go to preset settings here, and you need to fill out all this stuff, but first enable it. Then the source is post, then get post ID from its current post. Exactly what we are doing with this first field, current post ID. Then map everything else down here according to that specific post type. Please make sure the post type is open again and map these fields accurately to these areas here from the top to the bottom. You get that? I hope you do. So make sure you map all these here so that when the user tries to, now let me open this one. When the user wants to edit a specific task, all these fields will come pre-filled with the details that were submitted originally when the post was created. Now there are few challenges that we have with this thing, because I noticed that assigned to has some little challenges actually. So it doesn't automatically pre-fill. Okay, it doesn't pre-fill the details here. That is a challenge. I'll admit that is a challenge, because I tried but it just didn't work as I wanted it to do. So your user, what I now decided to do was to provide some clear information down here or explanation, so that they know they should make sure to just assign it to exactly the same stuff that was initially assigned this, but everything else is pre-filled, as you can see from the previous details. Yeah, so that is the importance of making sure that you get all these things here exactly as they are from the post type. So that is the difference between these two forms. And everything else that we do for post submit action, it's exactly the same thing that we did with the other one, with this one difference here. Now we have post ID as one of the fields to map, and what you want to do with this is to make sure that you put post ID will update the post. Don't forget to do this, because if you don't do that, once this is submitted, it will create a new post instead of the current post that it was intended to update. So make sure you don't leave this blank, but you map it to post ID will update the post. Everything else, it's exactly the same as what we did earlier on. Now the hook that I have here, it's for the email that I just said. So the email will be sent to the user, letting them know that the task has been updated, and that's all about this. And it's exactly the same thing that works with the other one, but with a slight difference for personal tasks, because for personal tasks we are not sending out emails. We don't send emails to ourselves letting us know that we have just updated our own task and all that. So there is another form that I think we will look into, but I think it will be a little bit later on, because that needs us to be working in the editor Elementor while now creating the front-end user interface, and that is changing the status, which is this thing here. Let me just show you again, which is this thing here. This thing. So from pending to in progress, maybe. Now, as you can see, that form does not have a submit button. It's just you select from the list and it does its thing. So we'll look into that later on. I won't forget, I will show you that. Then these other forms are edit subtask. These other forms are actually, let me go to this subtask thing. I think we need to look into that, because that's a different form. It works with CCTs and not CPT. So, or should I show you edit personal task? Yeah, I think I should take you through this pretty fast. And the only thing here is to show you the minor differences that we have. Very little differences actually. And the difference that we have here, it's just that we do not, we have one, we do not call any hook, or we do not send emails. We do not add notifications. That is one. The other one, which is also I forgot to mention from the other form, is that we are not messing with the current status while editing the task, right? Because that is taken care of with this other form on the side here. That is handled here, so we don't mess with it We don't mess with it here. Okay, that is for personal task, not assigned. This is assigned. Let me take you back to the personal task. That is for the personal task. So we don't necessarily need that to do that. But if you want to, you can put it there, which for me, let me see, I think I had it somewhere. Yeah, it's here, task status. So it's optional. You can put it or you can leave it out in whichever way you want to do it. Yeah, so everything else here, it's exactly as what we have in the other one. Now let me show you the form for CCTs. The CCTs form, I will show you. Let me see, add personal subtask, add subtask to assigned task. I've seen it here, it's here, add subtask to assigned. Now let me start with this one here. We have some minor differences and some important things that you need to pay attention to. Now the fields are very few, just like the way we have them in our CCT. So we have post ID. Now remember, I explained something like so many times. Now I think I just need to go back. Let me go to Subtasks. Where are the CCTs? They are here. So let me see one of those. Assigned task subtask, it's here. Now I will edit the first one. Okay, so we just have a few things here. Remember, I explained so many times what task ID is. Now this is the time for you to see it in use. So post ID, which is the current post ID, that is exactly what goes here into the task ID. I explained this many times. Then user ID, that is the current user ID, and that is it's useful because I usually want to have that for me to use it later on if I want to, but in most cases we will leverage item author, so that will be serves the same purpose. Then the description and the attachment. Then now, what are the post submit actions? Number one, we want to insert the CCT, and our CCT is assigned task subtask. Then we want to map everything accurately according to what the meta fields expect. That is just the post ID, which is the task ID, and which is the ID of the main task, then the description and the attachment, and remember to update. And this is a very important part that you don't want to forget or skip: connecting relations. Now, why do we want to connect relations? It's because we want to make sure, I don't know if I have any that has, okay, no problem. Let me just open this again. We want to make sure that when a subtask is added, it is listed in the correct place. it is listed in the correct place. So if we add a subtask here, let us just do it, right? I think that's all I need to do here. So we want to make sure that when we add a subtask like we just did, it is actually listed at the right place, or rather it is added down here. So it's here in our listing, and that's why we do the relations here. Now let us do it. But before we do this, I almost forgot a very important step, and I also did not add it in the list here. That's why we almost forgot. I didn't add here. I was supposed to add relationships to create. I think I will update the list because I said I will make it available to you. I will update it so that you also don't forget. Now let us go back to Jet Engine and go to relations. So we need to do this because it's important. It's important we have this. Now we already have that relationship here. It is Subtask. Yeah, it's this. That was the first I did. So you need to create a relation between the assigned task, which is the main post type, and the subtask for that assigned task, which is a CCT. So for me here it's a CPT tasks, which is the parent, and the CCT subtasks, which is the child. Now this P, no, this is the wrong one. This is personal. This is not the correct one. Let me go back to relations so that we use the right one. So P means personal, individual, and this should be now the assigned. Yeah, this one. This is the correct one. Yeah, this is the correct. So now CPT A stands for assigned. Now please, you should name yours the way you will understand much better. So A stands for assigned here, P is parent, C is child. So it is CPT A, which is CPT assigned tasks, and CCT assigned subtasks. So the parent object here is the task or assigned tasks. Then the child object is the assigned tasks subtask, which it's a CCT. So you go to your CCT and scroll through the list and select the correct CCT as the child object. Then the relationship is one to many. What does one to many mean? It means one task, this one here, one task can have so many subtasks below it or under it. So that is exactly what one to many means here. One to many. Then everything else I always leave them as is, and I always enable these REST APIs things because sometimes I just need them, but you don't need to do that. Then content type related settings. This is a very important part. Very. Underline the word very, or the keyword very. Title field, select field will be used as the title of related item. So you can select whatever you need here, but in my case, it is the task ID. So this will help us when we are here. This is the form. I don't know whether I have it. I don't at the moment, but I can just go back. don't want to do that. I did not want to do that. I wanted to go to all. So I hope you are getting that part of the relations. So once your relationship is created and saved, if you are on the form, before you did that, you will have to do this. You'll have to save the form, then you'll have to reload the page so that it's available for you to use. But since you already know, you are supposed to create the relationship before you come to build this form. So check stuff last. Yeah, that is what we have. And now when we scroll down here, so when we were selecting that part of the title to use, it's what you will see here. So the relation is being added here, so you can see it's here, it's here. So once a subtask is created, they will be listed below this specific CPT. Now let's go back to our form and go to now the connect relation. So relation, select it from the drop down of your relations, you know which one. Then parent item ID. Now this is from your form. So what is the ID of the parent item coming from? And that is coming from the current post ID, which is the parent task or the parent CPT. So that is the parent item ID. Then the child item ID, where does that come from? That should come from the inserted CCT assigned task subtask, because when we are submitting this form, the CCT is not yet available. So the ID will only come after the CCT has been inserted. So that's where the child ID comes from. Then the update context, we are updating children items from the parent object. And here you can replace, you can append. I've never find this to be that restrictive, too much restrictive. These three items marked with red asterisks are the very important things that you should pay close attention to, and that's done. So that is the most important thing with this subtask stuff, and it's also the same thing with the comments form. Then the last post submit action here, it's just to reload the page, because I love using, where is it, form settings. I like using Ajax for my forms. I don't like this page reload thing. I don't like it, but it's all up to you. So that's done with that form, and we already tested the form here by adding this subtask here. And now comes a big challenge for editing the subtask, and that's the point where I said using CCTs is a nightmare. And why is it so? Because you cannot just use a pop-up like we did here to edit the CCT like that. It's not that easy, I'm telling you, because I've tried this so many times, and I just came up with a workaround that I will show you, not now but later on, which it's right here. And let me see if there's another form that needs me to explain the details to you. Yeah, it's these two forms, but we'll get to them. But up to that point, I think we have all the necessary knowledge we need for building these specific forms and working with them. So don't worry, we will get back to this thing, because you must know how it works. And basically we will get back to it when we'll be building these listings down here. The same thing works with comments as well. The same thing works with comments. Exactly the same way I've explained the other one, it's exactly the same way it works with these as well. So both users can comment on assigned tasks. Only assigned tasks have comments. Personal tasks do not have comments. They only have subtasks. So that is the comment that I've just added right now. And we will be looking into more of this when we start building the listings. So as well as looking into this thing here that I just mentioned a few moments ago. So up to that point, I hope you guys have understood how to build these forms. You have enough knowledge that you need for these forms. So if there is something that is not clear, then use the comments section down below to do that, to ask your question, and I'll try as much as possible, as much as I can, to explain to you whatever it is that you will need me to explain. Also, let me remind you to kindly take a minute, like the video. Yeah, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you've not subscribed yet, and leave a comment. Whatever you want to say, just say it in the comments down below. It really helps this thing, so don't be mean with that. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Suggest whatever you want me to create as a next video, and I will try again as much as I can to do that for you. And if you find this video useful and you think it can help someone else, then why put it for yourself? How about you hit the share button and spread the word? Yes, you can do that. Okay, so let us see where we should head next. I think we need now to start working on the front end, so that the rest of these things will be blending, or will be switching back and forth from this thing. So what we need to do next is start with the templates. Then we'll now be going back to these other things, to the listings, once we have these templates done. But there is no specific order of doing this. You can even build the listings. The only thing that you need to do is make sure you have some data, that is, submit a few forms and have some details that you can use in your listings, because it's much easier that way rather than building listings when you do not have any data yet in your database. So yeah, let's proceed.